afternoon. My name is Nick.
And I'm Maria Alejandra, or Male, as most of you in this room know me. And today we want to talk to you about the 168 Americans, or the 125,000 New Yorkers who live along the autism spectrum, many of whom are adults filled with a desire to relate to others, but born with a brain that makes it hard. One of them is our friend Arturo, and Arturo is like you and me in many ways. He likes cars, he likes music, pets, technology, being with friends. In our ways, he's different. His differences are highlighted by the challenges of autism. These challenges make him feel tired and frustrated when socializing, and after trying to belong, he feels isolated. In his own words, he explained to us his experience. I'm able to do things as an individual, but my struggle is communicating. I have issues with dialogue, connecting with feelings, and understanding emotions. There's still a lot to learn about this. I can only go so far. This is a learning process. I have to go step by step, not beat myself up. And yes, it's true, but it's just Arturo's experience. And autism is a spectrum. There's a saying, if you met one person with autism, well, surprise, surprise, you met one person with autism. Despite that, we discovered one thing that Arturo and his peers shared. They're on a journey towards sustaining independence. What does independence mean? Well, to discover that, we conducted our research. And here, one of our participants explained to us. He said, I went to college to study English literature, and that was another isolating experience. I didn't make friends or any kind of relationships. I wanted to live alone, but my depression was a big obstacle for moving towards independence. From him, we learned that independence looks like this, more or less. Having access to a stable income, access to independent housing, and informal support systems like friends to sustain those two on top. And for people on the spectrum, housing and income can be provided and are being provided somehow. But informal support systems can only be grown by the individual. From experts in the social service sector, we learn that unpaid relationships and friendships are a more reliable way of supporting the community. Basically, the more friends you have, the better you are over time. But this is still not easy. Even though they have access to spaces to learn social skills, to practice social skills, and even to socialize, they want more. They want more conducive spaces to build interdependent relationships and informal support systems that they need. And this is where we focus our project.
And so to get started, we asked ourselves a question. If it were easier for them to share their stories and offer support to each other, would they grow informal support systems? We partnered with the Jewish Community Center, the JCC, and their pioneering program adaptations. We conducted interviews, we facilitated workshops and activities to make this happen, to answer this question. We learned that we weren't doing anything different. Again, we were focusing on their diagnoses and not their passions, and that we're building space for them to connect and not to bond. So we flipped it. Our entire hypothesis changed. If individuals have a space to make where they work in teams on a shared journey towards a common goal, they will build interdependent relationships that they can carry on to other areas of their lives. But to make what? Our first prototype was a making event, a making challenge, where we asked them questions like, well, what do you want to make? Or for who do you want to make it for? Or about which topic? We displayed this content on this cardboard generating machine. And this was the moment where it became fun, not only for us, but for everyone. And not only we were interacting with the content, we were interacting with the object itself, gamifying the experience. So we found ourselves with prompts that really spoke to their life experience, like make a set of characters for bad parents about patience. Make a poem for your inner child about more guys than women. Or make a graphic novel for models about guys in love with the same girl. And then we also came up with more off-the-wall prompts, like make a theme song for fat people about friends. Make a clothing line for Oscar the Grouch about trash in the streets. Or make an infomercial for villains about piña colada. We learned that the question wasn't to make what, but rather to make how. And that making was the means to an end and not the end itself.
Yes, and like this, the MakeGuffin project came to life. A relating by making program where team individuals explore interest and relationships around a sprint passion project. So it is inspired by the term MacGuffin, which is storytelling device. It's like some sort of goal or motivator that all the characters are pursuing, but the thing itself is not that important. It just helps to drive everyone through the story together. So how does the MakeGuffin project works? Well, first, the community selects the challenge they want to solve, and like this, they're co-owning their programming. Then during the event, they set on a set of principles of how they want to treat each other while making. This reinforces the idea that this is their community, this is their experience, and they are designing it.
Then they group into teams. Every team is given a make generator. A make generator is comprised of 3 card decks and the machine itself. Make cards, medium cards, for example, making Netflix TV series or card game or fake news posts. 4 cards are audience cards for who you're going to make it for. So anything like DSI students or grumpy people or hipsters. About cards are theme cards, so anything from the 60s, our president, or being a normal 39-year-old man. They play with combinations of these 3 cards until they find something that they're excited about, and when they do, they display it in the machine. Then they collaboratively make to solve the challenge. Teams pass through a shared journey where they compromise and leaders emerge, experiencing emotional highs and lows, which ultimately facilitates bonding. Then they share these projects with the community. The space has no winners, no losers, reinforcing this notion of process over product. Without the pressure of performing, individuals feel confident and comfortable to stand up in front of others, to tell people about their ideas that they're proud of, ideas that they're passionate about. Then we collectively celebrate the teams and individuals with team photos, with medals, and a family dinner. And it's an important opportunity for the participants to reflect on the experience, share stories, and hang out together.
So you might be asking yourself, okay, what are they making? So I'm going to introduce you to David, who is going to share with you his team creation, a card game, where food groups fight for space in their refrigerator.
Inside your refrigerator, a war is raging for the precious space to clash between the moat, and soon the fatty juices will be flowing. Who will emerge victorious? Will it be the meat groups with their powerful fat? The dairy group and their alliance with the fruits and vegetables, or will the pervasive junk food triumph as it slowly invades? Coming this summer, be ready for a food fight. Woo!
So this is just one of the many ideas produced in our pilots. From our 28 participants, we learned 2 things about the MakeGuffin. First, it positively shifts emotions. For those participants who arrive feeling sad or feeling depressed, 75% of them reported leaving feeling happier or better. Also, it reduces or helps reducing social anxiety. For those participants who arrive feeling anxious, 50% reported leaving feeling not anxious at all, and the other half remained the same. We were really curious about the why, so we asked them, and they explained. I love collaborating on ideas in my group and talking to my new friends. I feel more involved. I don't know what I want to make with my talents, but I do feel less alone with them. We understood that these were stories about decrease in social isolation and increase in social confidence, which at the end are conditions for growing informal support systems. Also, leaders are emerging. Now we have volunteers who are running registration, who are setting the space up before and after the event, who are sharing new challenges, ideas, and little by little taking the MakeGuffin into their hands. When they assume new roles, this is evidence of bonding and interdependence.
We believe this can be translated and adapted to other community centers throughout New York City and beyond, and that other people besides us can host it. So we created a playbook on how to facilitate your own event or create your own program, and like this, you could have your own MakeGuffin. We've already seen participants continuing these projects outside the space after the event. Therefore, we plan to make the material open sourced, available for anyone to download the card decks and cardboard machine templates online. And like this, individuals can host events through the center or on their own.
Finally, new conversations are starting to happen at the JCC, where Alison, the director of the Centers for Special Needs, taught to us, what you are doing is on a new frontier. It's changing the way we program. And yes, it is opening new doors for less programming for and more programming with, and for understanding the impact that a people-led process can have in the way we think about service delivery. The MakeGuffin project is just a more conducive space for Arturo to build interdependent and informal systems he needs. It is bringing him out of isolation and is changing his narrative so that he can pursue the independent life he wants. We see this scaling to other community centers. We see this going out there for all the other Arturos, all the other 1 in 68, so that they can flourish, not only as individuals, but as a community, doing it the only way it can be done. Not alone, but together, as a team. Thank you.